Hello and welcome to this video going over the second round of the Miyagi Japan One Piece TCG Championships, the first event of OP06, the first major look on the OP06 meta. And so now, if you missed the first video that we did in the iCard up top, I did look at the top 16 round. It was Sakazuki and Yamato. Very, very good match. Highly recommend you go back and watch that. But if you're interested in what made it through into the top 8, there's 2 Morias. So there was 5 Morias before, only 3 of them were knocked out, so only 2 remain. Sakazuki, there are 2, so 2 of the 3 made it. Enel, there's 1. This is Edward Newgate is 1. This is Yamato is 1, and then also Katakuri is 1. So that's what this top 8 meta is looking like. There's so many different decks. Very, very exciting, but it is dwindling down. It's pretty much even across the board in this top 8. Very, very cool to see, especially because we saw 5 Gecko Morias, now down to 2. So really, really cool. Really excited to see this. Haven't seen it yet, but just in case you were wondering, I do not own the rights to this stream. This is a rebroadcast of the official live stream, just doing my own commentary, not for any monetary value or anything, just to understand the meta a little bit more, the game a little bit more, trying to see some better players make certain moves and understand why they make those moves. So if you like this, leave a like, tell me you like it, maybe you want to see more. And anyways, let's just go into the round. So now we've got this round. It's Enel versus Gecko Moria. So Gecko Moria, one of the most hyped decks coming out of OP06. We did see 5 of them heading into the top 16, but now only 2 remain in the top 8. This is one of the 2, so we'll see how it does against Enel. We'll see this new archetype Gecko Moria overall. So very, very excited for that in my opinion. Gecko Moria, one of the cool decks, especially introducing some hand control, not something that's been going on in One Piece, some direct hand control. So very excited to see this as a player that likes to play control across other card games. Really loving those Enel sleeves though. I don't really like yellow at all, but I dig the Enel sleeves and the Uta sleeves as well, the Dawn sleeves. And it looks like Enel's starting out with their hand. A couple different events. A Sanji, a Katakuri as well. And then, is that Hiyori? I can't remember what that gal's name is, actually. But an interesting hand to start out for our player. That Hiyori there. 2 cost in OP06 on play. Put the top or bottom of your life card. Top of the bottom card of your life into your hand, then put 1 card from your hand at the top of your life stack. So basically, again, life manipulation, able to switch things around in your life. The 2 impacts, though, might be interesting. And for the Gecko Moria, a lot of new cards. They've got that 8 cost Gecko Moria right there. They've got a Rebecca Blocker, a brand new. Also, this 4 cost. What is this 4 cost? I think that 4 cost is Absalom. One of the new cards in OP06. And here we go. They also got a Victorious Sindri in hand. Victorious Sindri in OP06. On play, 1 cost. Search for a Thriller Bark Pirate. And then trash the rest of... Or I'm sorry, if you're... Wow, I suck. It's a 1 cost, trash 5 cards from the top of your deck if your leader is Thriller Bark Pirates. So, looks like Enel is going to be on the odd and Gecko Moria is going to be on the even. Enel just passing right away, and then Gecko Moria playing that brand new and going to be finding, I can't tell from this camera angle. Looks like it's going to be the Hina. Yeah, the Navy Hina. So they got 2 Navy Hinas in hand, which could be interesting. Going to draw for turn is the Enel. Got another event card in hand. Looks like they're just going to be swinging 7 at Gecko Moria. Gecko Moria going to take that early life and then just put it in hand. Can't tell what it is. And going to be playing that 1 cost Stadium I, just like the announcers, I think I'm not 100% familiar with what this stadium is. Oh, man. It's going to be tough. I'll try to find it at this point. But going to just be passing it off to the player, the Gecko Moria. Judge telling them to, hey, put up your life cards, bud. Looks like that stage that Enel has a new stage in OP06. Activate main once per turn. Rest this stage in one of your Enel. KO all of your opponent's characters with cost of 2 or less. So getting a lot of small people out of there, including the Cindy that was just played, discarding the top 5 cards because Gecko Moria is a Thriller Bark Pirate. Sindri, apologies. So that stadium, if they decided to rest the Enel, could get rid of both of those characters. Not that I think it would matter, but Gecko Moria now swinging 6, going to opt to rest 2. This is his effect, or Gecko Moria's effect. Dawn ×1 when attacking. Rest 2 Dawn, discard 1 card from your hand, put the top 2 cards of your deck in the trash, and play 1 character with a cost of 4 or less from your trash. So combos well with that Sindri, basically just discarding 7 cards and having to choose from that instead of just the 1, or, well, I'm sorry, the 2 from Gecko Moria, and doing the Wombo combo, playing that Dr. Hogback, that 4-cost character right there. Return 2 cards from the trash to the bottom of your deck in any order, and then put 1 Thriller Bark Pirate other than Dr. Hogback from your trash into your hand. So I didn't actually catch what they put back in their hand, but because, again, they're putting that down, they get to put some valuable cards, or maybe cards that didn't necessarily matter, don't really need to target, back in their deck, and then also put another very important Thriller Bark Pirate card in their hand. So now, with that, it looks like Enel took that life, and they're just going to play that. So they're going to trigger that Sanji blocker there, trash 1 card, and then play this card. So just thinking about which card is best to trash in this situation off this life. I'm not sure what I would choose here if I was the Enel player, but opting to use the Sanji right there. Instead of 1 Sanji, have 2 Sanjis. So gonna go to 5 Dawn turn now. Just drew a Brule, another blocker there, which could be good. They're gonna be swinging with the Sanji right here, really swinging with their blockers early. I would say you can be a little bit more aggressive as the Enel player in situations like this, because once you hit 0 life, you do replenish it once per turn. So basically making you like a 6 life leader almost, and more potentially. And especially with only 1 like kind of 3,000 plus character, I don't know if you're really worried at this point. Maybe a little bit, but going to be swinging 8 at Gecko Moria and taking that life, going to 2 now into their turn now at 6 Dawn in that 6 Dawn hand, and really big hand from this Gecko Moria at this point. Just drew into, I think, a Helmeppo, so now deciding what they want to do. I don't know if you're really worried about that stadium per se, because yeah, you'll get rid of the brand new, yeah, you'll get rid of the Sindri, but does that really matter? I would say I'm not sure I'd be too worried about that, but you just want to make sure that with like your Rebecca, your Moira, your Dr. Hogbacks, that you're not getting those low cost character because of that threat on the board. Although I don't know if this Gecko Moria is playing like 2 or less cost characters. Actually, not a lot in hand in general. So Hogback swinging 5 at Sanji, going to be hitting and taking, and then swinging 6 then at Moira, and doing the same thing again with the Gecko Moira, discarding that 1 card and then trashing 2 more, and then going through their trash. And this is the strength of Gecko Moira. Once you like really get a ton of cards in the trash, you can really start looping these Dr. Hogbacks to get a huge hand. And I think we are seeing the strength of Gecko Moria right now, just getting that loop of the Hogbacks. And so now they've got 2 Hogbacks in play, basically for 2 Dawn, 2 less Dawn than what they had before. So very, very good position, I feel like, right now for Gecko Moria, and Enel is going to have to decide. I think they just got that Brûlé off live, so just opting to play that right now, maybe blocking another one if they decided to go in with the brand new or something, but opting to play Hina instead. I think Hina is the much, much, much better choice in this situation because you want a bunch of attackers in one set of swings if you're facing off against Enel, because I mentioned earlier about that life replenish that Enel has in his ability. It's just, man, it's gonna be it could be an uphill battle for Gecko Moria if they don't get characters on the board that survive. But Enel now really thinking about what they want to do, not in with the Katakuri or the Yamato yet. I think they only have 7 Dawn in this turn, so it'll be interesting to see how they go. So really thinking about what they want to do. I'm trying to look at what that event is. I still don't know what that event is that they've got in their hand. They've got 2 of them in their hand. I'm trying to figure out what it is as they decide their turn. Just trying to buy time. I think it might be 2 impacts in his hand. I think that's what it is. But anyways, just going to be swinging 8 now, Enel at leader. And I feel like if you're Enel, this is probably a half decent play in this situation. Just trying to swing just a little high for to try to get some stuff down, especially if you have these big bodies in hand and going to be taking another life. So that's another card added to their hand. It's just a brand new, so probably not something they're really going to use, I feel like, in this situation. But the stage, not really, I feel like the stage is not really mattering at this point. Because, like, in this situation, you want to swing with Enel, like, every single turn right now, right? Almost. So going to be playing that impact, as I mentioned. Impact having 2 different options that you can choose from: KO up to one of your opponent's 5 cost or lower characters, or if your opponent has 1 life, deal 1 damage to them and then add the top card of your life to your hand. So just opting to KO the Dr. Hogback, I think that's a pretty good idea. To be honest, you want to narrow the board for Gecko Moria each turn, so not kind of shortening your own life is probably the best idea at this point. So Gecko Moria, once again, a huge hand. My goodness. They've got Rob Lucci in hand. The Rob Lucci KOing characters, cost of 2 or less. Now, unfortunately, that Brûlé is 3, so they're probably going to have to get through that blocker there. But there's not a lot of counters in Enel's hand right now. So it looks like thinking about swinging Hina first. Going to be swinging Hina 5 at Enel. Maybe trying to see if they have any counter in hand. But going to just be taking that card. It's another Yamato. Ooh, gonna help in countering at least, but could be good for back-to-back Yamato turns potentially. I don't know. Now the Dr. Hogback. Gonna be blocking potentially that one. Now what do you do here if you're Enel? If you're Enel, you proc, right? You could do that. I think probably, yeah, blocking is the smartest decision here, because they have all of their Dawn left and 2 other potential attackers. So it could be a little bit tough. And it looks like they're going to be playing that new Gecko Moria. That new Gecko Moria again. Choose a cost of 4 or less and up to one of 2 or less character cards from your trash. Play one of them and rest the remaining other. So they're going to be grabbing Rosiante and also Hina, getting rid of their 2 other cards there, and then playing those, and then the Hina grabbing the Dr. Hogback again, because the Hina combo, my goodness, I love this deck. This might be my deck in OP06, actually. Watching this in action, I love combo stuff. The Rebecca blocker returns a black character from the trash to your hand, and then you can play it. Not opting to play it because they didn't want to get rid of any of those other characters, but the Dr. Hogback will be really, really good in grabbing more cards from their trash next turn. So now on the 9 turn, I believe, for Enel, they've got a choice. Do they want to go Katakuri now? The Katakuri could be a strong option. Katakuri putting a character with a cost of 8 or less at the top of the bottom of the owner's life area face up. You, maybe, I don't even know if it's good to put the Rebecca in there. Maybe seeing how they react to this 5-swing Enel first. So they're definitely going to be playing Yamato then, if they didn't attach that 1 Dawn to their Enel. And that Yamato's going to probably take up or KO a character? No, actually. What would they KO? I don't even know what they would KO, but again, easily getting out of that. Now doing the Yamato, going to have 2, and it's going to be taking out their Rosiante and then adding a card to their life. So probably just going to repeat Yamatos in these turns, just to, you know, enhance their life a little bit more. I would be curious to see where they put the Dawn next turn if they do Yamato. To where are they going to put it on Enel, or are they going to put it on Yamato? Not 100% sure. So huge hand again for Gecko Moria. I think this Gecko Moria here was the 16th seed in this bracket when it first started. So very, very cool to see, because I don't know, I feel like Gecko Moria is in a pretty good position. I don't know, I just see a lot of cards in their hand and I'm like, man, that's pretty good. Really deciding about what to do, especially with a deck like Gecko Moria. I feel like it's very punishing, like most other black decks like Sakazuki, Rebecca, right, that we've seen very recently. I feel like if you make the wrong decision, you get punished really hard, compared to something like Yellow, where you can just casino your life, and then therefore you can play bad, but you can still do well. And that's a good one, I feel like, potentially for the whatchamacallit, for the Enel player, getting that Okiku, apologies, off trigger. And if your opponent's life is at 3 or less, play the card that is the trigger, and then on play, if your opponent's life is 3 or less, place the top card of your life, the top card of your deck, to the top of your life. Wait, what? Why didn't they do that then? The opponent's life was 3 or less. Wait, what? Do you not get to do the on play effect? I don't know why you wouldn't do the on play effect. Just getting another life, replacing that Okiku? I'm so confused. But maybe there's something that I just don't know about. Maybe the translation, the actual translation of the card, I just don't know about. But we'll see what happens in this one. The Gecko Moria now having to decide after swinging as well with the Dr. Hogback. Now having 2 attackers left in this one. They're not going to be able to get the KO and win, because I don't think they're playing Rush. Oh man, blocking that camera angle. Tough. So Gecko now choosing. They've got all their Dawn left to do whatever they want in the turn. And at 10 Dawn, they could play another 8-cost Moria, and then maybe some other stuff. Looks like they're going to be resting 1 or that one card. I forget what that one card's called. It's played in Sakazuki. Great Eruption, giving that character -2 cost and drawing a card. Maybe opting more for the draw portion of it. But really choosing when to swing with this leader, Gecko Moria. And it looks like it's going to be right now swinging 5k at leader. And now the Enel player really deciding, did I get rid of characters now? No, it looks like they're going to potentially use a trigger off of this life. We'll see what this trigger is. Could be a couple different options. Maybe it is that you're the one who should disappear Sky Island event card that they were showcasing earlier that we talked about in the previous video, in the previous round of this tournament. It would give another life to the Enel player, and then they wouldn't have to proc their ability, which would be really, really good. But they'd have to trash a card from their hand, so maybe choosing what they should trash off of this. Oh, sorry for yawning. It's like it's 1 a.m. over here. Ooh, 1 a.m. I should go to bed. I'm going to bed after this round and then doing the others tomorrow or later today. Whatever. I think they're still deciding on this trigger. Oh my gosh. That's the thing about One Piece players is like usually it doesn't matter, but they take a long time to make decisions, I feel like sometimes. I've noticed this in the Japanese streams, in American locals. It doesn't matter where. One Piece players would make Pokemon players explode with how much time they take. And it looks like it's going to be a Sky Island trigger. So Sky Island trigger, trash 2 cards from your hand, add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life. So a little tough in that aspect because they had to get rid of 2. And because of the Enel ability, I think because of the Enel ability, they also got to put another life up there. Wow, very, very cool. I didn't know that interaction is how it worked, but I guess it makes sense because as soon as the life is being taken, whether it triggers or not, you go to 0 life. So I guess it would proc no matter what. And so now the Gecko Moria character swinging at 8, and they're just going to take it. Is that another Katakuri? So their hand is abysmal right now. I mean, it's kind of good. It's kind of alright, but it's actually abysmal because they have no counter. They have no movement aside from a big giant body. And I think it might be too little too late. But the Gecko Moria player is going to be playing another Gecko Moria, grabbing this Rob Lucci and playing that, getting rid of the Hina. And the Rob Lucci, I think, is going to be able to KO Okiku. Putting those 3 cards down at the bottom. And yes, because of the Great Eruption earlier, going to be able to knock out that Ikoku. Because the Rob Lucci is a 2 or less and a 1 or less. So with the -2 off the Great Eruption, Okiku was at 2. And so passing off the 1 Dawn left in the active. Ooh, getting the Onami Banish could be pretty good. You've got 2 swings. There is a blocker in your face, so you're a little afraid of that. What you could do potentially... No, I was going to say you could like Katakuri. And I think they are going to Katakuri this turn because they are putting 2 Dawn on that Enel. And I think they're getting rid of the Dr. Hogback. Yeah, they are going to be swinging 7 at Dr. Hogback. It will hit and then resting 8. I wonder to put the Rebecca or the Gecko Moria. Going to be putting the Gecko Moria face up at the bottom of their life. So limiting more... I keep wanting to say Moira from Overwatch. Gecko Moria now with 3 different characters on field. 2 of them going to be able to attack, and 1 being a blocker, which is pretty nice, I feel like. But it is going to be interesting how this match proceeds. This is a crazy match, I feel like. I feel like it's gone so back and forth. Decks that kind of like both outlast each other in a sense, because Gecko Moria constantly gets cards back, can constantly get back counters, and then string out attacks. Very interesting. But now in 10 Dawn turns for both sides. 7 minutes left in the round. We'll see if we can get a conclusion, actually. We might not actually find a conclusion in this. And so starting off with a 5K swing, or I'm sorry, 6K swing of Rob Lucci, going to be taking that and opting not to proc that the hands. What is that? The 200 million via Maru. So we'll see on that. And I think that was actually a really, really great trigger, because now next turn, the Enel player can do the 2 Dawn, give a leader a character, which is probably going to be Enel, plus 3,000. And then since their life card is 1 or less, they're going to rest that Rebecca, because they can rest a cost of 4 or less. So actually a huge hit, I feel like, for that Enel. Really good poker face right now. Grabbing another Yamato off life. Oh my gosh. Have they seen all 4 Yamatos? They've seen at least 3. And then putting another card in their life due to Enel ability. They're going to have to discard 1. I would think it's got to be that Katakuri, right? Yeah. Going to be the Katakuri. So also very interesting, because it doesn't put another body on board. Probably going to be opting to just spread their Dawn out to the different people. And wow. A Brule. Oh my gosh. Enel really just, in my opinion, sacking right now. And this is what I'm talking about. Just Enel constantly putting cards at the top of their life. You know, they have so many different trigger cards and so many good triggers that they can just really swing a game in this aspect. So the Moira player playing down that 8-cost Gecko Moria to put down the Dr. Hogback to get 2 characters, put them at the bottom, and then also grab whatever that card is. Is that Helmeppo? Or that character that starts with an A? I don't remember what it's called. A Balsol. And so here we go. This is it, I feel like, for Enel. Maybe not it, but like, this is where you can win the game, I feel like. Get rid of the blocker, right? You've got 0 life. You're going to play the hands, but they did just top deck the You're the One Who Should Disappear, but I don't think that one's going to matter as much. So why would you not rest that blocker? What's the reason for not resting that blocker? Maybe to play another Yamato? I think you would only do that if you were going to play the Yamato, right? I'm so confused as to this line of play, to be honest. Maybe this is the most effective way to do this. Swing 6 Enel. It's going to be at life, I'm sure of it. They have so many triggers in their hand. Or their counters. They have so many counters in their hand. Like, what do you... I don't know. I feel like I would have gotten rid of that and then just swung away with all these characters. I'm also surprised they didn't keep the Katakuri. But I think it was probably better to save. Maybe getting the Brule changed their line of play. I'm not sure. You're going to swing 9 now and a bunch more counter. You're going to be playing another Yamato. You're going to be putting 1 at their life. So now effectively getting 2 life because their leader effect comes back into play. And so maybe that was maybe they did do a correct play then. because now you have the Brûlée. Now you basically can guard 3 swings. And then maybe you get lucky off trigger. I don't know. You don't have any Dawn. There's a 7,000 swing right there. 7,000 swing. And it's going to be using that 0 cost. You're the one who should disappear. Discarding that Yamato to get 3,000 for the battle. And going over. Now you have the Suru. Is that Suru? I think that's Suru. To get minus 0 cost. And then using the Gecko Moria effect to be getting that Absalom to KO that Brûlée. And then that swing from Gecko Moria hits, but then, oh man, Charlie Linlin in the discard pile somehow there. Oh my god, dude, he got another Brûlée! What? Dude! It's not going to matter because that swing right there is going to be the game. But like, oh my gosh. Wow. Gecko Moria. How many freaking blockers did they hit off triggers? Oh my gosh. Gecko Moria is going to be moving into the top 4 now. One of the 2 Gecko Moria decks still standing leading into this round, knocking out the Enel. I think now Enel is officially out of the tournament. Thank goodness. All the homies hate yellow. And hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching if you made it this far. Let me know if you want to see more rounds. I mean, I'm probably going to post more rounds whether you like it or not. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more of these videos. And I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.